heart of South Philly. Let's go see what the people have got to say. I'm ready to roll, baby.
Now listen here, Dutch. The Mets and the Cowboys, they suck.
1, 2, 3, go Birds! Go Birds! What we got? 302BIRDS, Stakes. Go Birds! Oh my gosh, Chad. Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
Your favorite Chicagoan. Go Phils.
As always, God bless. Go Birds.
Get your water ice and soft pretzels ready because you are now tuned into a 302BIRDS podcast experience. Proudly presented by TickPick, Nick's Pizza, El Diablo Burritos, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street. Let's take it to the show.
What's up, 302BIRDS fans? We got a jam-packed show for you tonight. Phillies just clinched at least the second seed, so we got a bye. Eagles are 2-1, NBA, NHL, right around the corner. It's truly the most wonderful time of the year.
That's Christmas, bro.
Well, it's only Christmas that the Eagles are going to make the playoffs. Other than that, this is the best time of the year. So, yeah. All right, let's get into the first segment.
Kick it to the call-in, baby.
Let me find the intro real quick. Sorry.
What do I want when I'm in the state of Delaware? Of course, El Diablo Burritos. Customer service always is serving your food with a smile on their face, asking how your day is, but their food is phenomenal as well. Their burritos are out of this world, one of the best burritos in town. Their queso is phenomenal. Their burrito bowls are amazing as well. When you're in and around Delaware, stop by your local El Diablo Burritos and tell them that 302BIRDS sent you. God bless. Go Birds.
Welcome in, Matty Ice. How you doing tonight, baby?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Fantastic. Couldn't be happier. What do you got for us tonight?
So I was wondering, I was really mad at the game last week, and then they definitely showed improvement this week. The defense definitely had to step up. I was just wondering what do you guys think has to improve in this whole team to try to get farther?
The injury
Great
report.
question. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, we just need to play all 4 quarters. I said this from when we started this podcast that Eagles football is best when you play all 4 quarters the same way, not a half at a time. So we need to figure out like these turnovers. Granted, that interception that he had to that Jalen Hurts threw in the end zone, that wasn't really Jalen Hurts' fault. That was Devontae Smith's. He didn't cut as hard as he should have. Our offensive line, even though we lost Lane Johnson and Mekhi Becton, I think people that stepped up, they really showed up and really protected Jalen Hurts when we needed them to towards the end of the game. And just like this defense, just keep playing as they did last week against the Saints, because that was great defense. Probably the best defense I've seen this year. Granted, it's only 3 weeks into the season. But yeah, that's my takeaways.
Great.
Yeah.
Anyone else got anything?
I mean, I think you summed it up pretty well. The defense, we actually saw them show us that they know how to play football, which is really, really nice. We had not really seen much of that this season. However, we'll talk about this later, but this injury bug that has very much hit the team, I'm a little nervous about what that will mean more long-term. It seems like for sure AJ Brown and Devontae Smith will not be returning this upcoming week. They were still on the do not practice list, so we will see. I also think ultimately our play calling needs to tighten up substantially. I think Sirianni, I know he said that he's in the passenger seat in terms of offensive play calling. I don't really know it for sure if that's true or if he's just saying that to appease people. So I don't know. We will see.
Yeah, well said, Ash. I'm going to say this. What needs to improve for the Eagles? First off, great question, Matty Ice. Love the question, man. What needs to improve for the Eagles is one person. It's one guy, and it's Jalen Hurts. He needs to improve his turnover ratio, man. I had this stat, and me and Jack talked about it on the Eagles postgame show the other night. I went 5 for 6 in expectations with players in that Saints game. I was pretty happy with that Saints win, solid win. I was, like I said, pretty satisfied. But the one thing I wanted from Jalen Hurts was a turnover-free game. And I'm pretty sure by halftime, he already had a pick and a fumble. So it's like, I understand some of it isn't all his fault, but some of it is his fault too. And it's a blend of all of it. So what I really want to see from Jalen Hurts and the Eagles play calling, the Eagles mindset, every player, but it all starts with your quarterback and Jalen Hurts, which we'll get to later in the show, is I want to see Jalen Hurts protect that football and control his turnovers. Maddie, what about you? What do you think that the Eagles need to do to improve?
Number one, I think they need to feed Saquon more. And number two, I think when James Bradberry comes back, I heard of him, he might play safety. I think Quinyon has been really good this year, and I think that he could honestly be a solid pick over Bradberry. And then number three, like you were saying, Hurts just needs the control. He can't keep getting these turnovers. Like, a thing I noticed last week too is he also rushes game-winning drives. We saw that in the Seahawks game last year. We could have won that game, but he just tries to throw one deep and it's intercepted. So I think he really has to start protecting the football, and the pass rush also needs to step up. And we're paying Bryce Huff $51 million to do what?
Speak, man. I love it. You're right. It's frustrating when how much you pay that guy and he doesn't show up. Jack, Josh?
No, that's it. Matty Ice. If you don't have any other remarks, appreciate you coming on the show, and hope to see you next time.
See ya.
See you
Take care,
soon.
Maddie.
He rocked that puka shell necklace.
I love that. Yeah, seriously. And we
That's
met
very
Maddie actually at a tailgate, and that speaks to the 302 Mafia and the 302 fans. It's deep. It's real deep. And he was like, hey, I follow your guys' TikTok. Can I call in the show sometime? I'm like, yeah. Let me see. This Wednesday, we were actually out in LA, so we took the break for season 7. But the next week, I'm like, sure, man, call in. And he rocked it. Brings that knowledge every time. Yeah. But next up, we got somebody that you guys all know. Jack and him are probably about to have it out, so I'll let them get to that while I go share it up in Facebook groups. But take it away, Jack.
Hey, Dennis, how you doing tonight, buddy? No, Sidney Brown. Yeah, sure. He had a great
So here's my question.
But Reed Blankenship is playing really good football.
Here's my
comes in clutch
question.
when we need him the most.
I have a question.
What's the question?
When are you going to come to the realization that you're only 2 weeks away from the GOAT coming back and showing that boy how to play football?
I don't think he's going to start right away.
When will you understand that it's going to take more than 2 games of game-winning interceptions to prove that he can tackle better, he's not injury prone, and he can make it through a full season without getting hurt? So far, so good. But the first 2 seasons, he found a way to go out injured. If he can make it 17 games, not injured, play every play that he's supposed to, and have at least 2 more game-winning interceptions, I will let that man keep his name of Blankenship.
Sidney Brown is injury prone. I mean,
Sidney Brown also took back a 99-yard touchdown last season.
Okay, that's one play. What else has he done?
99 yards better.
Okay, and what happened to the season last year? We had a downfall. That 99-yard play was a great play. How many
touchdowns did Blankenship give up? 6.
But that doesn't define. That doesn't define that he's better than
6 touchdowns he gave up.
He played half a season last year. He had one good game where
6 touchdowns that Blankenship gave up that were game costly touchdowns.
Okay, but let me ask you this. How many times did Sidney Brown miss tackles when he was still healthy?
10.
That's very comparable to Blankenship, but I feel like Blankenship is
Blankenship had 15.
Well, all last year the whole team couldn't tackle, so that's just an outlier.
I still love you, bro.
I still love you too. I really do love you. But I mean, I really don't think Sidney Brown's going to get that starting position right away. He's going to
No, it won't be right away, but I do think that he'll move into the role to move Avonte Maddox out. I do believe that.
Avonte Maddox has played pretty good, past couple seasons, but he's the one that's injury prone for sure.
Yeah, he could have 5 interceptions in a game. He could return 5 of them for a touchdown. And in the meantime, at halftime, go save a fucking puppy from a burning fire in the 6th floor of a building. And Dennis would be like, I guess it was an all right game.
Well, where's my thank you? I'm a firefighter.
Hey, thank you. See, there it is. Fuck Reed.
You what? I do that. He don't. What you want?
I'm making an analogy showing that,
I
don't think Reed ever does
give all the credit in the world to Reed. I think Reed played an outstanding game versus the Saints. I don't think he showed up versus the Falcons. He just has them moments where you just want to smack the living out of him. That's just. But who don't? We all want to smack Bryce off right now.
Yeah, that's actually a topic I want to get into a little bit with you too, which Maddie kind of brought up earlier. But what's your thought? I mean, Fratty thinks he's going to be working at fucking Wendy's soon. What do you think?
And we're talking about Huff.
Huff, yep. Bryce
I'm
Huff.
hoping by week 6. I'm hoping during the bye or right after the bye, he'll trade him back to the Jets and we'll get Reddick back. But in my eyes, the guy is just like. He's $51 million for what? Our quarterback has more tackles than him.
The only
quarterback has more tackles than a freaking defensive end.
The only bright side of him that I saw was in the preseason where he had that nice took on the pressure, got around, got a tackle. But other than that, I mean, Huff hasn't really done shit. He's not looking like the Jets Huff that he was when he's at the Jets. I mean, he just gets beat every single time and gets pushed back. I mean, it's really sad. I'm not sure what the split was, but Brandon Graham's playing more than he is. Granted, Brandon Graham's is a better player, but at the same time, he's a veteran. This is his last season. He should not be playing as many downs as he is compared to Huff, who's a young buck.
And I was listening to 97.5 The Fanatic today, and they had a great point saying Brandon Graham right now is playing 66% of snaps for the Eagles at 30. Is he 36 or 34?
36, I think.
Yeah, 36. I think you're right, which is even crazier. That is not going to last all year, So the Eagles are in a pretty good spot right here where they go play the Bucs. They can probably get away with that one more time, and then they're going to have a bye week to reset. After that, if the Eagles edge rushers and defensive ends still can't get home, I'm going to be scared as fuck because it's not at that point, it is what it is. Those guys are already what they're going to be for that season, and you just need to figure out how to play to their strengths as a defensive coordinator. So Vic can't really rely, I think, on players. He needs to rely on players' skill sets, and this defense needs to really become that personnel defense. He's found his tackler. He's found his gem in Bond, like Shardy said, but that's really been one of the only few bright spots of this defense, besides last week, which we'll talk about too here, because anytime that your fucking defense shuts down the number 1 offense in the league, the second hottest offense in NFL history, putting up 91 points through 2 weeks, you got to give some kind of credit to your defense and almost expect a little bit more out of your offense. That's my take. And then do I think Vic Fangio's system has anything to do with them not being able to edge rush either? I know that Vic's system's a little bit different. I think he runs a 3-4 off the top of the head.
Nope.
So, no, 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually like that. So that would actually play more into Vic Fangio. Sorry, it's been a long day. But yeah, I like that more. I think that should actually play to the Eagles' strengths, and that actually helps them get away, I think, with Brandon Graham playing as much as he is because he's a traditional DN. Josh?
I got a hot take. Okay. Huff has been really, really, really bad. So instead of hating on him, we got to take the Trey Turner approach and like just start clapping for him and like really like cheering him on and stuff, and just be very positive to him, like anti Philly rhetoric, and just like really we're already spending the money. If we cut him or trade him, we're still paying this guy a lot of money. So might as well like be positive about him, like maybe give him some confidence to go in, like play well, because he didn't do anything last week, but he also had a snaps reduced. We're gonna chalk up week 1 to communist turf that we couldn't get any traction on. So really, it could just be week 2. Okay, maybe it's just week 2 he didn't play well.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to, see how he progresses. I mean, he hasn't really done much.
Yeah, he's been terrible.
For me to be confident in him. So,
True.
I mean, hey, maybe it is.
Maybe we put him out there in special teams and just let him
maybe we just give him a tackle.
Jack some stuff up on the
maybe we use him as a tackle dummy and we just hit him as much as we can, and then it can kind of give that little, fire in him to actually play well. Get away.
Dennis will call the drills for Reed. Yeah, Reed can go out there and get some practice, and we'll give Dennis a whistle. It'll be a whole party. I'll bring Dunkin' Donuts and coffee for the morning.
We got a Namdi Asamoah situation on our hands.
We're putting Jameson in the coffee. That's going to be a tailgate. But seriously, Huff has been a real letdown.
The thing with sorry, Dog, I don't mean cut
you're
you
good.
off.
Go ahead.
Biggest thing that I'm seeing, and a lot of people aren't a fan of it, but so many defenses now are doing this wide 9 scheme where they're setting defensive ends like 5 yards off of the tackles, and it's like, yeah, that works to an extent, but doing it every play, you're getting blown up in the run, and I get you're trying to like isolate the end from the tackles, but I don't know, man. Like, it just seems like Huff can't use his hands. It looked like if this wasn't a family-friendly show, I would not be saying certain. I wouldn't say. I'd probably say something, but there's a lady here too.
Respect.
He's a gentleman.
But you can't. Like, he couldn't even do that right.
I think I know.
He couldn't even find pleasure doing that right.
Oh my God.
He's scared if he couldn't even play flag football the way he's playing.
Yeah.
And that is the quote of the night, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. If Reed Blankenship ever watches this podcast one day and I ever ask him to come on here, he's gonna be like, yeah, go fuck yourself. You guys are assholes. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I do want to say something real quick and then we can move on. Hey, Frat, how does the L taste in fantasy? Just want to let you know, just want to let you know, how's the L taste?
You won?
That's mean.
I actually went on to the last 30 seconds of that
but
game.
Can you bring up
game?
Brady's comment back there for a second too? If they don't score more than 15 points this week, I'm going to have a conniption and aneurysm, and I'm going to need to take like 15 Ambien because it's going to be game over. This offense has no more excuses. They are out of excuses. They're all 4 of their grandparents have died, okay? I'm done. I'm done with excuses with the Philadelphia Eagles offense. You can't pull any more cards. It's over. So it's either show up, it's game 4, or I think we're stuck with a pretty stagnant offense. And it seems like, unfortunately, A.J. Brown needs to be like, this offense needs to be the fucking Avengers for Jalen Hurts to play somewhat decent. And that really shouldn't be the case. Like, Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert have had both great seasons, I think. Dallas Goedert has been kind of Jalen's safety valve through the first 3 games. And then we saw Saquon Barkley, obviously, with the big first game and then the big game last week. But, yeah, I need to see more out of Jalen Hurts. It's frustrating. I think he's leading the league. Or no, he's 5th in the league in passing yards, I think. So he's up there in that. But it's the stats are not telling the story for me. And there's been a lot of questionable dumbass decisions, like the turnovers in last game. So if they don't score more than 15 points, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. Sorry.
Johnny Wilson will have 2 touchdowns.
Jesus Christ. All right, that's a perfect segue into our next topic, which is starting to get a little bit red out there. I wish he was here. Time for Phillies talk with Bob Tommy. Finger stitch.
All right, Dutch. The Phillies, win the NL East. That was a big game against the Cubs. All right, Dutch. Yeah, and they also clinched the first week bye, which is nice. So these Phillies are looking pretty good. I mean, we saw what's his name?
That one guy.
Who's the outfielder? Why can't they?
That dude. Shit.
Marsh.
Yeah. We saw Marsh. We saw Marsh give a nice little speech before the game tonight. And it just seems like this team is about it, and they're looking really good. The pitching is a little shaky at best, but Topper got this team to go to the World Series. Go Phils! All right.
Was his speech good, Jack? Or was it like your speech at Josh's 21st birthday, where I believe the exact speech was, "All right, guys, we're gonna have a celebration for Josh's 21 years of life. Happy 21st birthday to Josh. Josh, we loved you for 21 years." It was just you repeating, saying that Josh is 21 years old in 5 or 4 different ways.
I was a little, intoxicated.
You were drinking white wine that night, Drake.
Yeah, I was drinking a lot of white wine. No, it was like a heartfelt speech, kind of thanking the fans for being there, supporting them all throughout the season. Tonight was the last home game of the season, of the regular season. But yeah, no, Phillies are looking really good. They win 9-6.
9-6, yeah.
So Phillies are looking good.
6-9. However you want to say.
Whatever, Josh. Phillies are looking good.
Red October. Nothing better than watching a playoff baseball game Saturday night outside, got the bonfire going, get a little brewskis in. You wake up the next morning a little hungover, your team won, then you watch the Birds win. I mean, October is just a vibe. And then you can cuddle up with your buddy, watch some scary movies maybe right before the Phils tip off. October is just it's magical time. It's magical time. Go Phils, Red October. It's awesome. It's great. Nothing better.
This is the first time they did it in 11 years. So that was a big milestone.
Mm-hmm. Where were you 11 years ago?
I just say play the song.
That's all I got to say. Sorry.
All good. Anybody else got anything? I mean, very exciting. Like Jack said, I think we were in fucking middle school the last time it happened, Jack, which is crazy to think about of how much can change in 11 years. I thought it was 13 years, but I might be wrong on that too. Maybe ballpark.
2011.
So it was 13 years ago.
Jesus Christ. What? It's all right.
Stupid.
It's okay. I'm just busting your balls. The only reason I knew it was 13 was because Jack is actually born on Friday the 13th, and this month had a Friday the 13th, which made my mind is weird and thinks of weird shit like that. But I'll tell you whose mind is also weird. But he doesn't think of cool shit or good shit, and his decision-making has been questionable. Philly Rob, I mean, the past 2 weeks has been ups and downs and ups and downs. The past 3 months have been ups and downs. The really only smooth part of the season for the Phillies was the beginning. The rest has been up and down and up and down and up and down. My biggest thing from me that I'd like to see out of Philly Rob is I'd like to see some more confidence in his guys. I feel like he kind of bails out a little bit earlier on these guys. And look, Taijuan Walker, that's its own scenario. Everybody should bail out on him early. But when you're talking about some of these other guys, I kind of wish that he would leave them in a little bit longer. And what Taijuan Walker got thrown into last night or the other night, that situation with bases loaded, that's not fair. That's tough. I don't think any baseball player should be thrown into that and then expected to deliver, especially with the way that the season has gone for him. I really questioned Philly Rob, and it made me wonder if it's him or if it's Dombrowski. Like, we all know the Phillies are upset about Walker. They paid him too much, and it clearly hasn't worked out at all for them. So I'm wondering if they're almost just trying to squeeze that orange and get the rest of the juice out of it during the regular season, see what they have. But regardless, I didn't think that it was fair to Walker to be put in that the other night.
I disagree with you. I think he has too much faith in his guys, actually. It's the same thing we saw last year with Krimble in that playoff game where he brought him in. Yeah, whatever. I don't even respect him enough to say his name right.
Crimpet.
Same situation where they bring him in because they're like, oh my God, base loaded, he's going to win the game. And then they lose the game. I think Philly Rob's a little too nice sometimes. Now, like you said, it might just be like, all right, Walker, finish off the regular season, whatever. As long as that attitude doesn't continue into this postseason, maybe Philly Rob learned a lesson, And maybe it's okay to keep your starting pitchers in a little bit longer if you know they're going to pitch better than Tyson Walker. So Tyson,
Yeah.
same, whatever. Tyson Chicken, Walker, whatever. It's the same shit. Rob's got to be a little bit meaner. Maybe not everybody gets to play, all right? It's not AAU or whatever.
No, and then we can move on. I mean, one thing that really stood out this season with the Phillies is, it's always the next person up. We had the injury bug early in the season. We had, we had all these.
Trip to England.
What was that?
Mm-hmm. Trip to England.
Yeah. And we had all these players that were, that we needed that in these key positions in the game, and they showed up. I mean, I guess our farm league is getting better, but that's just something that is a good thing to take away from the season. Is that this team, when we were down and out, we had the next man up, and he performed great.
Like Sosa was a starter. Yeah. He played great when he was put in there. It's just like kind of like that dog mentality. Mm-hmm. We some dogs, kind of like the Phillies. Kind of like the Eagles this weekend if we don't have a wide receiving core.
What BG say leaving the field on Sunday? They ain't want no puppy. They wanted a big dog.
We some dogs.
Basically what the Phillies need to do right now. I mean, we can have all the hitters in the world, but if we ain't got pitching, then we got a problem.
Facts.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, how is it that we had 4 all-star pitchers? 4. And we are sucking right now in the pitching department. I don't know why the heck Rob put Walker starting yesterday. That was a stupid decision. By the top of the second, it was 6-1. Like, the experiment needs to be over. I understand we're paying him a lot of money, but he's losing us games that we should be winning. Everybody called it a hangover game, but it could have put things on ice a day earlier. And with how crazy this division is, one game can make a really big difference.
Somebody call the Wilmington Blue Rocks and ask them if they need somebody for the soda stand, and we'll just sell them there.
Oh, shit. Hey, well, you know where you can get your tickets to those Blue Rocks game? On the Tick Pick app, which is actually a great way into our next segment, Slap Shots with Zep, because preseason hockey's back, baby.
He shoots, he scores! Time for Slap Shots with Zep. Flyers talk from 302 Birds.
Zeppy, winter not in the air yet, but it's going to be soon. I mean, Jack was getting pissy pants earlier for fucking Christmas songs.
Yeah, hockey, NHL, and the NBA, like, you should care about them, but you don't really need to pay attention to them till Christmas time, like the Winter Classic. Now, that being said, I'm a big metaphor guy. I think the 2024-2025 Flyers are going to be a lot like the 2021 Eagles, where a lot of young talent, kind of a new regime, even though the Flyers haven't really had like any GM or coaching turnover, but a lot of young talent, and I think they're going to be feisty. Last year they were feisty. They didn't have a lot of talent. This year, those younger players have another year. I mean, they were fighting for a playoff spot in the last week last year. So I don't think it's crazy to say Flyers might be that 6th, 7th, or 8th seed, make the playoffs, maybe lose in the first round, but I think they're going to get a lot of young talent, a lot of good NHL experience this year. And you might not see the payoff till next season, but I think this season is going to be a lot. If this season's a total bust and we suck, it's going to be really disappointing because it feels like this is the new era of like the new regime. You had the old Flyers that had the Jeff Carters, the Mike Richards, who were just kicking ass. Then you kind of had the Giroux-led years where we were good, but we weren't good. Then we were kind of good, and it never really seemed like to get into a good flow. And then for the last like 3 years, it's just been throwing shit at the wall, seeing if it's going to stick. This is finally the year where it feels like we have a plan. We're young, we're feisty. Very exciting. Very exciting.
Josh, that was just beautiful. I mean, I got nothing else to say. It's actually really nice that you're here because when we go over the Flyers. You're never here.
Well, maybe if the podcast didn't start at midnight,
It's not
some of
midnight.
us wake up at 4:30 a.m.
It's not midnight. But yeah, I mean, Flyers are good. I mean, let's not expect much out of them because that worked perfect for us last season. Like, we didn't expect anything. And like Josh said, they were fighting for a playoff spot last season.
Yeah, they need to play. I mean, there's definitely going to be, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they make the playoffs, but I also wouldn't be surprised if, like, there's a week where we go on, like, a 3-game skid and everybody on Twitter is like, oh, my God, Comcast sell the team, Danny Briere, ballpark time. Like, be patient. Young team.
Hear about the rookie they got.
Ballpark going at it on Twitter, getting in some street beefs on there, Josh.
Yeah. He just is like, I don't understand how Tommy has ever gone through adversity in his life. Like, I feel like
I do.
The reason he got straight A's in high school is like, if he failed a test, like, it would mentally crush that boy.
Yeah, so he never fucking failed again, god damn it. Maybe you should take some notes over there, Josh. And then you could fucking be Tommy gets up at 4:30 a.m. like you or whatever. He goes and solves the world's problems. Maybe not building rockets, but local businesses' problems. And then he's up at this podcast at fucking 9 o'clock. The only reason he's not here tonight is because he's at our alma mater. He's at Hawk Hill tonight. What's he doing? He's educating the youth. He's there for career fair, bridging the next generation of people that will hate their jobs in America, corporate. No, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, though,
probably not.
Flyers are back. This is exciting for me because the people that do hate their day jobs, mostly Flyers fans, finally have an outlet where they can go and drink beer on a weeknight and get away from their problems. And I'm here for it. I'm going to go to a bunch of Flyers games this year because, like Josh said, they're going to be a gritty team. No pun intended. They're going to be a feisty team, like Josh said. But I think that they're also going to be a fun team to watch live. They're going to be young. They're going to be upbeat. There's going to be a lot of fights, and there's going to be a lot of action. So if I was you guys capitalizing on cheap Flyers tickets, like Josh said, Flyers could be easily in the playoffs this year. Now, what are they going to do? Could be a first-round bye, like 2021. You're referring to the season we lost to the Bucs right before we went to the Super Bowl, right, Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
like,
first round
like
exit.
Yeah, but that's they were like the Eagles were 4-6, and
we exceeded expectations. I know what you're talking about.
You gotta water that flower. Yeah, we got a light bulb going out.
Oh, it'll grow.
So I think it's the poltergeist. Don't be worried.
Very on par for fucking Halloween episode, which I mean, I don't have anything else to say about the Flyers, but I do want to get into our next topic. We'll let ladies take it first, and then we'll kick it to Dennis. But Ashley, turnover city for Jalen Hurts, right?
Yeah, it's ugly. It's been ugly. I don't know where the disconnect is. There's been a lot of people saying, he has not had any consistency in the coordinator and coaching department. Does that have something to do with it? Is he uncomfortable because he has less of his quote unquote regular receivers? I don't know, or if he's just in his head, but it definitely is not good. It's not nearly as bad as some other NFL teams are dealing with. However, when we have a quarterback that we know it is as good as Jalen, it's been very disappointing and frustrating. Heart rate has been sky high during the entirety of all of the games lately.
Dennis?
In many situations of looking at quarterback play from different teams to Eagles history, the turnovers are definitely an issue, and it dates back to the issue of last season going, it's just continuous. But the main thing that, and everybody can say it's an excuse, this kid's not had the same offensive coordinator for 2 seasons in a row since the Super Bowl year after Steichen left. I mean, trying to adjust to a system and then you had one who should have stayed on the NCAA cover because he's dumber than all hell, and now he's the Commander's problem. But you're trying to make him into a type of quarterback he's not. Jalen Hurts is not a pocket quarterback. Let him use his legs. Let him play football the way he knows how to play football. If you let him go back to let him play his style of football, I think the turnover rates go down. As far as Sirianni's stupid-ass calling of plays, I don't know if he thinks, hey, maybe if I hit one, everybody will ease off me and I can get the plays. I can go back to calling plays again. I don't know. At this point, Sirianni's on a real sheet of thin ice. And I mean, that thing's so thin, if he goes through it, he ain't coming back. And if we don't make the playoffs or if we're a one and done, he ain't going to have a job. Because you can't play like that in Philly and think you're going to stay here. Look what they did to Doug Peterson. They axed his ass as soon as they screwed up the Carson deal. They needed somebody to be the scapegoat, and look what happened. And Sirianni's riding that path. So if something don't change, man, it's just there's a lot there. And I have hope that this team can turn it around. Right now, you're dealing with injuries that could also cause a lot of turnover issues from Jalen because he's not used to throwing to certain people. So it's up in the air. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but that's just my opinion.
I want to just go off what you just said real quick, and then I'll kick it to Jack and Josh. Jalen Hurts has gradually, I was looking at all 3 of his games today, or 4 of his games in his career against Tampa Bay, 2 of them playoffs, 2 of them regular season. And even though he's 1-3 in those games, and he tentatively looked like dog shit in the 2 that we remember, the playoff ones, the one thing I will say, in the playoff game last year, there was one positive takeaway. In his first game against Tampa Bay, it was like a 48% completion percentage, like ass, horrendous. His second game, it went up a little bit. I think it was like 55. In last year's playoff game, it was a 71.4% completion percentage. So he is getting more efficient through time. And you've seen it with the Buccaneers. And Tampa Bay's notoriously a team, or not a team. Well, yeah, a team and a stadium, moreover, Raymond James Stadium, that he doesn't like, losing the national championship in there, losing 2 playoff games in there. So I think adversity is sometimes something that plays in Jalen Hurts' favor, but he's got to clean up these turnovers. The interceptions, I'll say that they're almost like expected in a way. It's almost like pitchers giving up solo home runs, like it happens. But the fumble is kind of what upset me, because it's like that's what Jalen Hurts does. He runs the ball, so he should in return also know how to protect the football. So I want to see him not change his style of play, because I have liked that he's been running it and being a little bit more loose. I actually think it's played to the offense's benefit. But I'd like to see him just be a little bit more cautious about maybe when he chooses to go down and how he chooses to hold the football, because you can't be loose with it, man. You got to be smart about it.
Now, did we take notice, Jack? I don't mean cut you guys off. If you look back at the Atlanta game, when he takes off running, does that not look like primetime Jalen Hurts that we know from the Super Bowl season? That's the Jalen Hurts that you need to let play football. Because when he gets pissed off like that, he's going to take off and you're not going to bring him down. Yeah, the penalty was stupid. They shouldn't have gave us a penalty for him spiking the ball for delay a game. That was bullshit. But when you let him play football like that, that's the Jalen Hurts we drafted. Let him play football like that. Let him get to his receivers, and it's game on. Because now look at the weapons he has compared to what he had that season. Yeah. Let's be honest. You now add Saquon Barkley to Goddard and AJ and Devontae. There's nothing nobody can do. You can't cover all of them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's not a pocket passer. He's not a pocket passer. He's a mobile quarterback. He's a running gun kind of type of guy. So just let him play how he's like. Don't change his gameplay. Let him play how he wants to play, making smart decisions when to run out of the pocket, because that's the best football. That's the best Jalen Hurts. The best version of himself is when he's playing his own game, not staying in the pocket and, getting pressure in his face. He's a mobile running gun quarterback, so let him play that way. I mean, it's just, his rookie season, or when he first got the start, I mean, we liked him about him. He was a mobile quarterback. And, when he's out there, running, it kind of scares me a little bit. I don't want him to get injured, but he just looks like he's having a great time. And that's what we need for our quarterback.
Yeah, I think the thing you notice about Jalen, is when he escapes the pocket to find more room to pass, he's normally really good. When he escapes the pocket to run, he's normally pretty good. He gets into issues where he escapes the pocket and doesn't really know what he wants to do. And that's kind of what happened Sunday when he fumbled. And I mean, that kind of just comes with that territory. That's going to happen every now and then. I honestly think, this is going to sound stupid, take away that interception, which probably half on Jalen, half on Devontae Smith. That's probably a route that A.J. Brown's going to run in the future. I mean, that's a big body play. So take away the interception, take away that fumble. Jalen Hurts played perfect on Sunday.
He was 22 for 28.
Yeah. I mean, played perfect. And in the fourth quarter, he really only had one regular receiver out there in Goddard. So I think he's playing better. I will also say this. Having A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith probably hides a lot of stuff. But when you're in the 2-minute offense, going back to the Falcons game, and like you need to make a play like that, I do think that sometimes Jalen Hurts gets a little Carson Wentz-y where he kind of goes, F it, somebody's down there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not his game. Jalen Hurts is really good at taking like what the defense gives him and kind of just picking them apart slowly, like going on these like 11-play long drives, like what he did with Goddard. Like that Goddard play for the 60-yard to get us the game-winning touchdown, basically. That was not we're going to chuck this to a go route. That was we're going to run a pick play.
Let the play develop.
And, I mean, that play should only got 15 yards. The reason we just had a great clear out. So, I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about anything besides injuries.
I mean, if you throw a stat at it, I went and pulled it up. This is just another comeback stat to think about Jalen. Let's think about 2022 against Green Bay at Lincoln Financial Field, the game that we chased Aaron Rodgers out of the link. He was 16 for 28, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, and then he ran the ball 17 times and had 157 yards rushing. When you let him play football like that, or something into that scenario, don't let him run 17 times. For the love of God, don't do that.
We have Saquon
But
for that.
now that you have Saquon, if you let him play that style of football, that's the Jalen Hurts you need. That's how you win football games. That's how you let him lead a team. Done.
Yeah. And last game, the defense really was the one who stole the show. Offensively, they struggled the first half. Second half, they finally got their act together, finally got their shit together. But the defense last week was really the ones who stole the show. We obviously know Zach Bond has been a hidden gem that the Philadelphia Eagles have found, leading the NFL, I think, through 3 weeks now, at least 2 separate weeks in the NFL in tackles. And I can't tell you how satisfying as an Eagles fan it is having a linebacker that knows how to execute a tackle. I think Zach Bond should maybe put a fucking clinic on at the NovaCare complex for the rest of the defense on how to tackle. Last week, they were a lot better. I'll lay off. But the first 2 games, there was a lot of sloppy tackling. And I will say, I don't know what Vic Fangio said to these guys. I don't know what he did. But Brian from Broad Street Reports said it in his own words. You could tell that they had a game plan. You could tell that they came into this game different. They came in prepared. Speak of the devil, there he is. What's up, my man? But they came in with a different mindset, and you could see that. And not only the way that they approached the game, the way that the game played out, and the way that they were talking about the game after. You could see in Vic Fangio's face, in his wording, that they did what they wanted to the Saints offense. They completely stopped Derek Carr. I think I had in my post-game notes, going into the fourth quarter, Derek Carr had 9 for 17 and 62 yards. That is ass. Going into the fourth, that's in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left, I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the fourth quarter because I have it written down and separated by quarter. Yeah, 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Derek Carr, 9 for 17. So they pretty much had him shut down. They shut down Kamara. It was a beautiful masterpiece called by Vic Fangio, and I loved it. I was here for it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was probably the best showing of Eagles defense we've seen in quite some time. I mean, when Rashid Shaheed, has
Rashid Shaheed,
I think he had 1 target and 0 yards. And he was killing everyone's defense, leading up to that game. So when you can do that, when you watch film, make the smart plays, that is what Eagles football is. And that's what this fan base wants to see when we can shut down a powerhouse on offense.
I think the best thing is I think we all knew we were going to get a Jalen Carter game. Everybody knows Sidney Gardner-Johnson can hit. I think the biggest thing to take away from Sunday is that Jordan Davis got after the football. He wasn't just a run stuffer. He got after Derek Carr. He had a sack. I think that is great news because that was the biggest thing going in. Okay, Jordan Davis has to play all 3 downs, and he's got to get after the quarterback. And that was awesome to watch.
He's finally playing football. He's finally playing.
Looked like Jack out there.
For Sally's back in his heyday when he was a star on the football team.
What's the matter? Why are you nodding your head there?
Bunch of cheating assholes at Sally's. Freaking rich people, Baynard Stadium. Fucking God, man.
Hey, that's a private donation. That was somebody's private money that they
I
decided
don't
to
care,
donate.
man.
But that's a
They don't
story
need
and an
to have
argument
it.
for another day. How you feeling about besides Reed Blankenship, Jalen Carter, man? He really showed up. I know you're waiting on Sidney Brown, but those 2 defensive linemen, the defensive tackles, we've been waiting for them in Fletcher Cox's departure.
I've been waiting for Jordan Davis to step up for 2 seasons. Like the fact that he showed out, maybe it's because he cut his dreads off. I don't know. Jalen Carter, I'm glad that he's finally woke up. I'm glad to see him get all mouthy on the sideline like he was doing. Like he wasn't afraid to say, "Hey, bro, we stopped you. We're here. Let's see what you got." Like he was giving it to the safety dude for the Saints. I forget his name. The one we wanted for a while. But
Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, him. Like Jalen ain't afraid. He'll pipe up. Like if he knows he's balling, he's gonna let you know he's balling. So the fact that our D-line's stepping up is a big thing for us. We haven't had solid linebacking core like this since Jim Johnson and Jeremiah Trotter days. So to see this kind of linebacker play is just phenomenal. So as long as that keeps up, I think we're good. And once they start clicking on all cylinders, I think we'll be okay. CJ starting to kick it back up and show that he's worth the money that he was paid. It's just one step at a time. Now, I know everybody's waiting for the comment. Yes, I gave him his name back. I'll call him Blankenship. But we're still only 2 weeks away from this guy.
We'll see what happens. But on the flip side of the coin, we got the offense, offensive stars. We got Dallas Goedert and we have Saquon Barkley. Obviously, we had offense going, but we couldn't score many points. But then once DeVonta Smith went down, I just think it unleashed a beast in Saquon Barkley. That fire in him that we've seen in his heyday when he's starting out the Giants. He said, "Fuck you for being dirty to my receiver. I will fuck you up." And sure enough, he did. And Saquon Barkley had 67 yards, 147 rushing yards, and that was something that we expected out of Saquon Barkley, and he scored 2 touchdowns. So this is the Saquon Barkley that we wanted. We have him now. He has 5 touchdowns?
5 tutties on the season. Yep.
5 touchdowns in 3 weeks. That's incredible. And Dallas Goedert. Hey, Dennis, that's another gripe I want to say with you. You texted in our chat, Dallas Goedert is washed. We need to move on from him. Go back to that graphic, Dalton.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up. I don't know why it's being weird.
Unhook the trailer.
Anyway, 10 receptions, 170 yards. So you're saying, I love you, Dennis. You're saying that Dallas Goedert is washed after he just put on a game like that. One of the best games in his career.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why did it take 3 games into the season for him to show up?
In all fairness, I will say, I was watching the Falcons game film today because I was editing the vlog. And on my phone, I saw the videos that I was taking of the last drive, and he really was relying on Dallas Goedert as his security blanket. I just think that there's so much offense to go around that Dallas Goedert is kind of like the butt of that joke, if you see what I mean. Like, he's kind of the one that's going to, he's the guy that's going to always have to do the dirty work because he's the tight end, and he's never going to get any of the reward, the touchdown, the yardage. So for him to have a career game like this, I thought it was great. And I'll say this to you both. Dennis, say it every fucking Sunday in the group chat, because whatever the fuck you said, man, it fucking worked. So if that's what it takes for him to show up, fucking say it every Sunday in the group chat, because god damn, 170 yards. That's some big boy numbers.
We could just let Jack play tight end.
I guarantee you don't want that.
Whoa, Josh! You were a receiver? How many yards did you have offense? 0 in your 4 years at Sally's. 0 yards. I had 5.
Oh, Lord.
An offensive lineman. So anyway,
that is
say
true.
that again, Josh.
How many pancake blocks did you have?
A decent amount. I love pooling. That was my go-to. Big pooler. But yeah, I mean,
you were that guy I hated.
Yeah.
No, I love Goddard. I think he's the second best tight end in the league. But
who's the first at Kelsey?
Yeah. I mean,
that's fair.
I'm sorry, but Dallas Goedert will never be Zach Ertz. There ain't
that's fine. He doesn't need to be Zach Ertz. That's not what this team doesn't need a Zach Ertz. This team needs a Dallas Goedert. And apparently this team needs a Johnny Wilson, because
it's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming.
I like Johnny Wilson.
Somebody's going to get in the end zone this week, not named Dallas Goedert or Devontae Smith. That's a hot take.
You know who's going to have a big game this week? And this is going to sound crazy. So everybody keeps saying,
Jahan Dotson.
No, not Jahan Dotson.
I'm with Jack.
This is a Todd Bowles defense. We're not going to be able to throw the ball. We don't want to overwork Saquon, right? We want Saquon to get his touches, but we need him all season. Kenny G, hand the ball to Kenny G. Not because he's better than Saquon, but we got to get some miles off Saquon, and we need to pound the rock this week. Big Kenny G week this week, I think.
Big fumble week. Big
Covey's
fumble
dead
week
right now. Tony, he's out for like fucking 3 weeks or something. I think he's had
6
a broken
weeks.
arm.
He's out for 6 to 7 with a broken shoulder.
Yeah, he's literally on that.
He got messed up. Prayers up to him. I'll say this before we move on to our trivia, and then we'll get a little bit into our injury report, which, thank you, Tony. That was a good bridge into that. Saquon Barkley, got to give him his flowers, too. I know Jack already did 5 touchdowns through 3 games. He took one of the fucking games off, for God's sake. So 5 touchdowns through 2 games, really. But when you look at what Saquon Barkley has done to this Eagles offense, he's basically simplified it for Jalen Hurts and for Nick Sirianni, too. Not just Jalen Hurts, but Nick Sirianni. And I can't emphasize to you guys, to our listeners, to our Philadelphia Eagles nation, how important that is for a young quarterback, for a young coach, to be able to simplify the game and take the pressure off them. It's a shame that it takes the Eagles usually to the second half to figure out, oh, fuck, maybe we should give the ball to Saquon, and it's only a matter of time until he busts one loose, and he's going to basically pick up 3 to 4 yards every carry, which is not a bad thing. My thing, and that's at minimum. Usually it's like 5 to 6 with the way that this guy runs behind our offensive line. My biggest thing is it's been absolutely gorgeous the way that it's transformed the Philadelphia Eagles offense. The Penn State product has really lived up to his expectations. And last game, I thought it was so awesome that the Eagles could rely on him, because that's one thing I think that we're starting to realize with Jalen Hurts too. And maybe it's with Philadelphia athletes. They can't be the star of the show. Look at Joel Embiid. He needed that Jimmy Butler, that guy that could take the primary role, and then he could be the sidekick. And that was really where it was elite. So I'm not saying that with Jalen Hurts. I'm just saying Jalen Hurts needs somebody that's a superstar to play with. And I don't think just Devontae Smith is enough. And unfortunately, I think running back is something that the Eagles and Jalen Hurts both overlook. So hopefully they keep that in mind and keep these things simplified. But getting into our next topic, let's hit some trivia up.
Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dorden, the mayor of Delaware.
Mike's muted.
Muted.
Thank you to TickPick for that sponsorship. If you are in and around Philadelphia, it's Phillies season. It's Eagles season. Buy your tickets through tickpick.com. The scoreboard we have tonight is the fans with 2. We have Dalton with 2. We have who's that? We have Ashley with 3. We have Tommy with 2. We have Zepp with 1, and then we have Amir with 1. Is that Amir right there?
Yep.
Okay. So tonight's question we have for you is kind of gross, but hey, I thought it was interesting. So the question is, who was the Eagle after he retired that was stabbed to death by his wife? Bill Dunson, A. Bill Dunson, B. Mel Tom, C. Blenda Gay, or D. Gary Pettigrew? Again, question of the night: Who was the Eagle after he retired that was stabbed to death by his wife? A. Bill Dunston, B. Mel Tom, C. Blenda Gay, or D. Gary Pettigrew? We'll give you the answer at the end of the show.
Thank you. Now, headed into one of our last topics of the night, we alluded to earlier Britton Covey's injury. The Eagles are really starting to have him stack up. I think Devontae Smith is out too, if I'm not mistaken, so he's not going to play. So the Eagles are really, really looking, hopefully, for A.J. Brown to come back this game. I know he's questionable the last time I checked on his status, but like Josh said, keep it simple. Keep it simple for Jalen. Keep it simple for Nick. Keep it simple for the entire team. And run that fucking rock. And don't run it, 30 times with Saquon. Run it 15, 16, 17 times with Saquon. And then give Kenny G his 10 takes. I'd like to see the Eagles run the ball throughout the team minimum of 25 times this game. And I think that's going to help minimize some of the injuries that they're having at the wide receiver position, because they're really spread thin now. And I do agree with you, Jack. I liked your take earlier that you said to Josh. I think Jahan Dotson is going to get in the end zone this week just because of sheer opportunity. He's going to be that number 1 guy, but it could get ugly. Like, I'm also going to, on the other side, with all the injuries that stacked up, I'm probably going to take it anytime Jalen Hurts interception, because I think he's going to try to force some dumb shit and he's going to probably do something. I hope I'm wrong on that for fandom's sake. I really do, but I'm afraid of it. And I think with all the injuries, he could just chuck some shit up.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely our powerhouse on offense is our receiving core, and having Devontae out, having A.J. Brown out is really an issue. So like I said about the Phillies top of the show, like, it's really about the next man up. So, Josh said it's a Todd Bowles defense. It's run heavy. We should run heavy, split the carries. I mean, it sucks because if we had A.J. Brown, if we had Devontae Smith, I would be more confident that we get this W. But without them on the field, Jahan Dotson needs to step up. Johnny Wilson needs to step up. Will Shipley needs to step up. Everyone needs to step up. The offensive line needs to step up. I truly do think that if we are really going to stick to scheme and run the ball, that we see Will Shipley possibly in the end zone. I'm really excited about him if he gets some reps, because I watched him in college and he was a dog at Clemson. So, we got to rely on what we have and what we're good at and, go from there, because this is going to be a tough game now that we have these injuries. And we don't even, is Darius Slay out? I don't know. Is he back?
He's a full participant in practice, but he's still questionable.
Okay, so we'll see about him. But I mean, yeah, I'm glad it happened week 3, because then we go into the bye week 5, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, we get that break where we can get these people healthy, and come up against. I think we have is it the Giants or Redskins week 6?
I'm pulling it up.
I think we have the Browns at home.
Oh, you're right. I think you're right.
We go play the Bucks, and then we have a bye, and then I think we host the
It's
Browns at home, if I'm
Giants,
not
then the
mistaken.
Bengals.
So
We
it's
play the
Browns.
Giants and then the Bengals, or it's Browns, Giants, Bengals.
So it's Bucks, bye week, Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jags.
We'll be at that Giants game, Jack. So get ready. We'll be up there in New York, guys. So if any of
New
our
Jersey.
listeners are,
Aren't you from
sorry,
Jersey,
the New
buddy?
Jersey Giants. If any of our listeners are New
aren't you
Jersey
from Jersey,
Giants
Dalton?
fans,
Aren't you from
yeah.
Jersey?
Well, I'm not a fucking New Jersey Giants fan. I'll tell you that, dickhead, motherfucker. I'm like that fucking. I'm from Philadelphia. When I'm from South Jersey, no, you're not from Philadelphia.
That's you. Whoa, that's you the whole time.
No, I don't say I'm from. I don't claim Philadelphia. I only say I
You
lived
say you're
in
from
Philadelphia
Delaware.
for
You're not
4
from
years.
Delaware. You live in
I'm
Delaware.
from
You lived
Delaware
here,
now.
You lived
I'm from
here
Delaware
for
now.
2 years. You're not from Delaware. The majority
All
of
right,
your
well, we
life,
don't need to have a
you lived in
fucking
Maryland.
graphic
So you're a
debate
Marylander.
of my geological
Anyway.
presence because
Fuck
it's not
trivia.
that deep. What
Fuck
is
trivia.
deep is this week for Jalen Hurts. 1-3 against the Bucks, a major revenge game. And I got notes, fellas. I took some before the show. I came prepared. Like I already elaborated on earlier, the one positive is Jalen Hurts has slowly improved throughout his tenure going against the Bucks. That 48 to 55 to 71% completion percentage, that's a good thing. Now this stadium sucks for Jalen Hurts to play in. Like this is like got to be his worst NFL stadium. He's lost 2 playoff games here, and he also lost the national championship in college here. So he really should, and understandably so, hates Raymond James Stadium. But it's when Jalen Hurts has the biggest chip on his shoulder that he actually delivers an expectation. So I think this game is either going to go really well, which I think it will. Jalen Hurts will still probably have 1 interception in my opinion, but it could be a 3-touchdown, 265+ yard game for him. Maybe run 1 rushing touchdown in there too. Maybe we could get a crazy 4 total touchdown game. But the biggest thing is I want to see him deliver. I want to see him make good decisions. I'm not necessarily concerned about the stats. I want to get a win. And that one game that he did play the Bucks that we won, that was after the playoffs when he had that chip on his shoulder, when he had expectations, and it was during the regular season. So once again, I do think he'll show up and deliver, but if he doesn't, it's going to go really bad, really fast, in my opinion.
The Bucks are giving up 91 yards average for rushing a game for teams this season. So it could be a run-heavy game. Passing yards, I didn't look at that. How many passing yards are they giving up? Because they did just get ripped apart this past weekend.
By the Broncos.
They're giving up, what's the 22-23 season? I don't need that. 241 passing yards a game. Woo! So the biggest thing without AJ, without Devontae, you already limit your receiving core. Paris Campbell's not what he used to be, so you're not going to get a threat there. Johnny Wilson's a rookie, still learning how to play in the NFL. I do think he can have a blowout game. I do think he could have 2 touchdowns because size-wise, he can remind you of Mike Evans. He is that big. But it's going to be a run-happy game, I think. Dalt, I would definitely take that bet of what you're saying, an anytime interception by Jalen, because I think he's going to force it because he doesn't have his weapons that he's used to. As far as the injury problems and everything right now, like Jack was saying, it's best to have it now than going into the bye week than as opposed to later. Granted, having as much as we do is not a good thing. And honestly, I would probably rest AJ with a hamstring injury until after the Giants game so he doesn't have to play in the Meadowlands. Because look what happened to my boy here. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this is a test of greatness for Jalen Hurts. He doesn't have many weapons. This is a game that he shuts up the naysayers about Hurts, about him, how he's been playing, because this is his team. This is Jalen Hurts' team. It goes through Jalen Hurts, and he has to be a leader out there for this team. He has to rely on the weapons we have now. I know he's not used to having these weapons because we're used to having better weapons. But this is a judge of character for Jalen Hurts that, he is for real, that he will help us, get to the promised land. We'll have a great season because, like I said, we don't have many weapons this game. So this all goes through Jalen Hurts, making good decisions, making smart plays, getting out of the pocket, running when he needs to, relying heavy on the run, relying on his offensive lineman. So, this, I will say this is a game that Jalen Hurts, shows us if he's for real or not. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Now kicking into our final segment of the night. Just want to tell you guys, if you haven't and you've enjoyed the show tonight, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. All those little things really help us out a ton. But let's kick to our trivia.
Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dalton, the mayor of Delaware.
Thank you to TickPick for that sponsorship. Like I said, it's Eagle season, it's Bird season, it's Philly season. Buy your tickets through TickPick. No fees at all. The scoreboard we have for this season is Fans at 2, Dalton at 2, Ashley at 3, Tommy at 2, Josh at 1, and Amir at 1. Dalton, did you give me your answer? Dennis, did you text me your answer?
Yeah, I texted you mine, so you should have mine.
Mine was in the thing.
Oh, then let me in the private chat. Oh, I didn't even see it. Just text it to me personally. Anyway, tonight's question we have for you is, who was the Eagle after he retired that was stabbed to death by his wife? A, Bill Dunston, B, Mel Tom, C, Blenda Gay, or D, Gary Pettigrew? Again, who was the Eagle after he retired that was stabbed to death by his wife? A, Bill Dunston, B, Mel Tom, C, Blenda Gay, or D, Gary Pettigrew? We'll go to the fans. With Slashing Santa, C, Blenda Gay. That is correct. Tony, D, wrong. Frat, B, wrong. Private chat, Ashley, C, Blenda Gay, correct. Dalton, I think A, Dunston, wrong.
God damn it.
So tonight's answer and tonight's trivia, I know it's a little deep, is C, Blenda Gay. He was stabbed to death by his wife after he retired.
That was a good question. Not a good event, but a good question, to be clear. Going along with Halloween, as we bridge into next week's episode, it'll be October. So fall will be fully in the air. Red October will be among us. The Phillies will be gearing up for hopefully the second round of the playoffs, clinching. Well, yeah, the second round of the playoffs, officially clinching that first round bye tonight. So other than that, I don't have anything else to say, except if you guys are around, please meet up with us for that Browns tailgate. I know that we'll be doing some other podcasts before then, but that'll be our next home tailgate. Going off of that, if you guys haven't, go check out on our YouTube right now. We just released our Atlanta Falcons vlog. There's a ton of awesome content in there highlighting what the C6 tailgate did. That was such a cool experience. And other than that, go check out the store because we got a ton of awesome Red October and fall merch that you guys can be copping right now to make sure you're fully dripped out, dressed to the nines in Philly sports. But Jackson, go ahead and take us out of here, Big Sexy.
Yeah, like I said, this is a judge of character for Jalen Hurts. This is a big game for him. This is where we know if he is legit or not. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to Miami. We're going to go to Tampa Bay, Florida. Hopefully the game doesn't get canceled due to the weather. We're going to go there. We're going to go to that pirate ship and say, fuck you. And the Eagles are going to kick the shit out of the Buccaneers. Jalen Hurts, 1 rushing touchdown, two touchdown passes. This game is, not make or break for a season, but go Birds. Hey, Josh, it's an outro, not an intro. Thank you, Dennis. Hit that motherfucking outro.